Hey, how's it going? Today's a new day. We're tackling no problems. Today's Friday. Good. My favorite day, 22nd. And I thought what would be better than perhaps taking a look at infrastructure. Something I was covering yesterday, and I was taking a look at the process of how it can look like when it comes to manufacturing your own vehicles and how to do it. Not that many people are doing it. I thought it might be worth taking a look at if anyone would tackle that problem. They perhaps would need to take a look at infrastructure, existing infrastructure of how to charge those vehicles. There was a press release done this month. I thought let's take a look at something that they managed to accomplish, and that would be boost for electric vehicle drivers as 50,000 public charging points installed across UK. Let's try to understand a little bit better what's happening. Uh, so as we speak, so the announcement was made this month, 13, right? Just over 7 days ago, 10 days or so ago, 9. And it seems there's a targets, there's a set targets of infrastructure and how they within UK how people or administration is looking to do that. The UK leads the transition to net zero, and it's on the target to install in 30,000, 300,000. Okay, so 50 so far. Right. Yeah, I have seen how they're planning of doing it. Yeah, with a number of universities and training staff as well as companies, and how companies gonna be manufacturing those vehicles. So there's a lot of things happening, or things that set in motion, right? Okay, good. Yeah, so it would be a way how to power those vehicles. Electric vehicle charging points by 2030. Okay. So they would need a lot more people within the space, right, doing it. This article, we're gonna be taking a look at three bullet points, right? The key milestone passed as new stats show where now more than 50,000 public electric vehicle charge points, as well as boosting charging infrastructure will help the country's transition to electric vehicles. And the last one would be Moment comes as a world leading zero emission vehicle mandate set to come into effect next year. Perhaps I don't know what's happening about taking traditional vehicles off the perhaps shelves, right? So not necessarily many people will be able to purchase those. Within perhaps US, they are planning of having electric vehicles. 50% of all car sales to be electric vehicles or similar ones, compared to petrol, right, or petrochemical powered vehicles, right? So there's a 50% set target within US. So perhaps in this article they might touch on that as we go. Perhaps better setup might be. Uh, Yesterday I was reading documents, right, about some of those processes and how to receive funding for potentially building those cars, right? It's very hard. For some reason, everyone's making it so hard to do it. It's the process and everything's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do. Since it's not that hard, I don't know why maybe they are making so hard of doing it. Or perhaps building it, it's not that hard. Finding suppliers and working with the people and all of that. Perhaps collaborating and working together, sales, perhaps those parts that might be hard. Building it, it's not that hard. It's just toys, right? And you need to put all those parts. You need to put everything together. It's not that hard to do. But to receive funding, perhaps that's for whatever reason it's more complicated than it has to be, and all that. But either way, with the number of videos yesterday, I potentially explain the current system of how to do it. And as we speak, perhaps there isn't that many companies who are doing it. Less than 10 that I know of. Perhaps less than 5. The UK has taken another step on the road to zero emissions driving as the new statistics out today, 13th of December, beginning of this month, showing over 50,000 public charging points has been installed across the country, making it easier and quicker to electric vehicle owners to charge their cars. I'm currently in UK, right? And if I were to pick up a newspaper, right? I'm trying to put things into perspective, right? I would be able to hire a business to do all kind of things for my house, right? Or change windows, or perhaps change roof, or perhaps all these kind of things. When it comes to perhaps putting in solar panels on the house, not necessary, right? That's what I'm saying. Put a charging point, not necessary, not necessary. That's what I'm saying. No, there's not necessarily that many people who are doing it. If I'll pick up a newspaper, they might look to hire a professional to perhaps to begin doing it, but not necessarily would be able to hire a professional to do it. So this is where the things are in motion currently within the UK. Charging points for drivers continue to grow at the pace with today's stats produced using data supplied to the Department of. Okay, that's a private company. Let's keep that. Also showing that 44% more public charge points, 52,602 than this time last year. Okay. Today's figures count as UK's world's leading path to reach zero emissions vehicles by 2035. Okay, okay. Because there's two different dates, right? So I think it was different time, wasn't it? Yeah, the beginning of the article was a different date. Okay, okay, okay. Is set to come into effect next year. The zero emission vehicles ZEV mandate requires 80% of new cars and 70% of new vans sold in Great Britain to be zero emissions by 2030. Oh, okay, okay. So within US we put a target for 50%, right? And within UK they have put a target perhaps 80 or so. The mandate ensures that the country will have the most ambitious regulatory framework for the switch to electric vehicles (EVs) in the world, and the 2035 end of sale date puts the UK in line with other major global economies, including France, Germany, Sweden, and Canada. Okay, okay. Perhaps if I would have to pick any of those countries, I would pick Sweden just because they seems, and or I would even pick Norway just because they have done it already. They have done it already. Uh, they have done it a long time ago. When I was in Norway, most of the cars was there. So because they have done it, that's who I would compare myself against. But okay, this is what they decided to compare. This mandate is providing the certainty needed to safeguard skills, British jobs in the car industry, and it's allowing the private sector to scale up investment in charging infrastructure, helping more drivers make a switch and ensure the country remains on the track to reaching, okay, okay, joke, 300,000 public charge points by 2030. Technology and decarbonization minister. Okay, there's gonna be people making statements, perhaps repeating that, and there's a lot of opinions there. The UK continues to be a leader in transition to a net zero, with EV making up 18% of the car market, one of the highest share in Europe and highest than EU average of 13%. Our approach has already attracted record investment in factories and EV manufacturing, including. So there's a project there. But what I'm saying is that so we are taking a look at how many people can do it, right? So that's just on the same point that I was sharing yesterday of how to do it, right? So there's potentially a process how to do it as we speak. How so how many companies are doing it? There's one, two, three, four companies only doing it. So perhaps smaller companies. There are some smaller companies, but perhaps 10 companies who can do it. Perhaps there should be more, but I don't know. I don't know. Perhaps it's better when it's only 10 companies, since there's a lot of funding and backing coming from Nissan. That would be from Japan, right? Tata, that would be from India. Two companies from India. BMW, that would be Germany, and Ford, that would be US. What I'm interested in, where is UK's companies there? Okay, if it's something myself I'm interested in because the process is very hard for whatever reason, right? Of how to manufacture those cars, and there's an infrastructure there, potentially, right? Stellantis investment in the electron report for EV van production, but that's perhaps not necessarily sedans, right? But perhaps that I know of, not necessarily that is your case, or England's, or perhaps there is a process there, so perhaps there should be people who, British engineering company, right, that should be doing it, but I don't know, that's my personal understanding. And perhaps within reading this article, I can share how to do it, right? Something that I did yesterday. If any of British engineering people might be interested in tackling some of those issues, right? As part of our plan for driver, we intend to consult on ways to make installation cheaper and quicker for charge point operators, review the grid connections processes for charge points, and also consult on the expansion of permitted development rights to make installation easier. Additionally, the government's connection action plan will overhaul the way projects access the electricity grid and reduce the delay time, possibly impacting all types of connection customers, including EV charge point operators. All the process for people who are interested in tackling this kind of problem, I have taken a look. It seems it's kind of problem. Perhaps there's just a handful of companies again who can do it. So the government's looking perhaps to consult with some of those companies in the way how they would structure those contracts. They're just trying to point that out. The government also continues to support the rollout of charging infrastructure in local areas. Applications for the first round of the 381 million local EV infrastructure fund are currently being assessed. This funding will deliver tens of thousands more charge points and transform the availability of charge points for drivers without off-street parking. Right. Good. In addition to on-street resident charge point scheme, and open for all UK local authorities, grants are also available for help business make the transition throughout the government's work plan charging scheme, as well as people in flats and rent accommodation throughout the electric vehicle charge point grant. So there's a lot of financial funding. I think I have seen a number of those. Sometimes it could receive a 40%, 60%, right, and or even more when it comes to building that infrastructure. Additionally, new laws recently came into force to prevent EV drivers with easier and or more reliable public charging, mandating that the price across charge points are transparent, easy to compare, and that the large proportion of the new public charge points have contactless payment option, because this was highlighted in the parliament, right? Last time I was watching it, that for EV parking, this was 400% more expensive. So they just highlighted, and perhaps they put law in place where they shouldn't discriminate based on EV drivers, right? Yourself, if you're interested in learning more, I have published a book. Within this book, I'm taking a look at livestock enterprise and how to begin and establish one. Everyone would start from zero. I have set financial goals within the book that will be progressing from zero, as I mentioned, where everyone would start, and to reach first 10,000 and how to do it. Euros, dollars, pounds, whatever case might be. Focusing a lot of mobile rotation glazing practices, and how you could potentially begin by perhaps growing just for your own needs, and from there progressing perhaps over 400. Then would be perhaps where it would be financially valuable decision, and or selling surplus, right? You can find it this and more information. I'm sharing a lot of examples within this book. The QR code in the corner company's website below. I don't know, it's worth bringing it one more time, right? So we're talking about companies like Nissan, Tata, BMW, Ford, right? Japanese, Indian, German, and US, right? Perhaps there should be more British manufacturing companies in there. The regulations also require that providers open up their data so drivers can easily find an available charge point that meets their needs. This will make it easier for drivers to locate charge points, check their charging speeds, and determine where they are working and available for use. Okay. So perhaps I have seen within US, right, and some of the people who run a lot of or have a lot of real estate, they considering having those charge points and perhaps earning money like a passive income kind of thing, where the companies will maintain those and people will come to charge the vehicles there. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you next one.